We're going to go ahead and start. Going to call the meeting, the Parks Authority Board meeting of May 18th to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please. Present.
Member Wadsworth?
Present.
Member Sellers? Present. Member Gill?
Present.
Member Sassani?
Present.
Member Webb?
Present.
Member Owen? Member Samuel? Member Julius? Let the record show 6 members are present, 3 are absent.
And Nathan's on sick leave.
Yeah.
He wanted everybody to know that.
Yeah.
Approval of the agenda, and there's one thing I know we need to add. We need to add under new business, Lincoln Crum videos. We have a chance to talk about that a little bit. Mr. Northam, anything else you need to add or any changes in the agenda?
That was the only one I was going to add to. Thank you.
Make motion to approve with the addition.
Second.
Have motion and second to approve the agenda with that one addition. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Approval of minutes from April 27th.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion second to approve the minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Old business, first item up is alcohol sales at Worley Athletic Center. Mr. Northam, if you would mind just kind of stand up top here real quick and let us know what the process is, and just give a quick overview if you could.
Scott, are you working on the contract for that?
Well, yeah, I emailed that about a couple weeks ago to Nathan for review. And then I did not hear as far as like any vendors you had found in any detail. So I kind of gave him a standard contract that we use for down at the River Stage, the Terrace, the kind of the one that we use for Cluckers. So I don't know if Nathan wants to chime in.
Yeah, here, let me give you a quick overview first, and then we can take it from there.
Thank you.
Nathan, I'm sorry, what's your last name again?
Pitcock.
Pitcock. He's the owner of the Rovers, who rents the Worley turf field probably more than any organization. And he's been asking for a number of months if they could have alcohol sales, beer sales on premises during games. He presented, he was at the last meeting, and the idea was presented at the last meeting. A number of members weren't present. But during that meeting, we asked that he work with Paul Northam and our attorney, Mr. Lewis, to get contracts in order and bring it back to a meeting here today and see if we would move forward with the idea of having beer sales. Some of the concerns were who would have liability, what kind of security would be in place. And I don't know, Mr. Pitcock, maybe it'd be better if you could just briefly tell us how that would work, and then we could talk about if the contracts are acceptable, and then we can consider a motion.
What I have is a contract that Scott sent me, the one that's been used for Cluckers with the River Stage events. And so I've been taking that basically to a couple of different vendors. I've got the list of approved vendors. And really it's something that I'm still in negotiation with. I've talked with the folks down there at Flat 12 with the new brewery there. And they're big soccer supporters. They're heavily involved with the Indy 11 team up in Indianapolis. So they're very interested, but it's something we're still working through detail. So I don't have a final contract, to be approved today. What I do have is the template that was provided to me, and basically everything in there looked good. It's just going to be a matter of whether the vendor comes back and says, okay, we might need this provision or that provision. But so basically I just have the contract that's been used for River Stage previously.
And as far as the premises, how would it be set up, and what kind of security would be in place?
What we're looking to do is have a beer garden to the right-hand side. If you're facing from the parking lot, facing in towards the field, towards the right-hand side, there's sort of a corner there between the current storage building and the edge of the field. So we're looking to section that off, and that's where the tent would be set up for the beer sales. we're looking to have a minimum of 6 security guards, off-duty police officers, and we'd have 2 stationed specifically to that area. 4 is sort of the standard operating number we would use if we didn't have alcohol sales. So the other 4 would sort of circulate the rest of the facility. Again, if attendance numbers, if we see a significant increase in attendance, we'd consider upping that number. But for where we are right now, 6 is what we would be looking at. And again, we worked with K4 last year, and I know they do some work with the city as well. I think they were in at the last meeting. So that's the group we would look to use if we do in fact get a contract in place and get the approval. But yeah, we want to have it sectioned off to that area, and again have security on the premises. So.
This is Tony.
Mm-hmm.
Would the beer garden be open at only during periods where events are taking place at the facility, or just open
Correct.
all the time?
No, we have 6 home games at the facility. They're spread between Friday and Saturday nights. There's 1 Thursday night game in July, but the rest are Fridays and Saturdays. We would look to have beer sales start. Games kick off at 7:30. We would probably look to have the beer garden open at 7 p.m. and then shut down by 9 p.m. with games finishing at 9:30. So just a pretty small window there. Again, our crowd is a family crowd, but we know with it being a Friday or Saturday night that moms and dads, would enjoy a beer with the game. So.
Okay. Director Northam, do you have any concerns? Are you comfortable with this arrangement?
No, we are comfortable. We do the same thing like Nathan mentioned down at River Stage, have no problems down there with it. It would be a secure area where they have to purchase the beer, drink the beer within that area before they can leave the area.
Mr. Lewis, are you comfortable with the contract and how it's being set up?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the problem right now is that since they don't have a vendor, the vendor would have to be the party to the contract with us, not necessarily the Rovers. I mean, the Rovers, they would be a party to it, but the actual vendor. So we have to make sure the vendor, the way it's set up, how we do it at River Stage and at Harris, is that the vendor itself secures a minimum of $1 million liability insurance policy, and they traditionally name the city as an additional insured, and that they agree to that insurance policy. They agree to assume all liability. And there's indemnity and hold harmless clause that's included if there's any incidences that arise from the vending of the alcoholic beverage. So between the liability insurance policy, they have to provide us with a certificate, verifying that they do have that insurance policy, as we do for Cluckers. So between the insurance policy and the standard indemnity hold harmless language, I believe that would protect the city. That's what's been in place for many years at River Stage, and we've not had legal issues with that, with the way the contract's written.
When's the first home game?
First home game is this Friday night, the 22nd. So we're obviously not going to have it for this game. But again, we're looking at it. We're here for the next, through towards the end of July. So we'd like to see if we can get something in place.
What would be the best way for us to approve it? I know we don't have his vendor, and I don't know who that'll be. What we could do that this body can say, we support it, but there's a little piece missing, and that they can approve it through, and that way we don't have to wait another month for them to come back.
Right, I think it'd be subject to the signing of the...
Subject contingent on the approval and signing of a contract in the same form, in the same substantive form as our Cluckers vending contract. I think that's the desirable.
Our second game will be on June the 5th. So there's a little window that, it's possible we could get it done before that. But then we have our final 4 home games are there in July. So, there's still, even if we miss this first window, which, is likely, there's still the meat of the season ahead.
So I guess at this point, if there's any other questions by the board members, just a chance to speak up if you have any questions or concerns. And if not, I'd like to entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve this contract pending the vendor agreement between, I guess, the vendor and our attorney, Scott, and, whatever they can work out. And it works with our River Stage. It's the same language, I guess, and the dollar amount that we have with our River Stage. And then that way, hopefully, if Flat 12 or whomever comes on, they can get that finalized and get with Scott. I mean, they might miss the first game, but maybe they could hit the second game. But that way we don't have to have a special meeting or wait another month. It gives him an opportunity to put it together and maybe put a little pressure on the vendor, give them a deadline. If they don't step up, go to somebody
Sure.
else.
Excuse me, do we have anything in writing from the vendor at this point in time?
We do not have anything in writing at this point in time.
That's why it'd have to be subject to signing.
Second.
And real quick, I think part of the motion is not only to approve the subject to contract, but to authorize
Right.
Ed as the president to sign the contract. You need that.
If that's okay with him.
Second.
Do we have a motion and a second to approve, to allow the contract to be approved, subject to the signing of the contract, and authority for the Parks Authority president to go ahead and sign that contract. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, passes unanimously.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Paul.
Next up under old business, the Worley Athletic Complex netting.
Evening, everybody. I have talked to Paul Northam about going forward with the netting project, and the way we've done it, we're doing it is similar to what we talked about last month. Is we have a circumstance at Worley Fields where the back of the turf field is against the neighbor's house, and we have a lot of balls that are kicked into the neighbor's house, and we'd like to protect those neighbors from the balls being kicked, whether it be footballs or soccer balls. The Parks Authority has asked me to figure out some sort of scope to help protect that, and last month I presented that scope with 5 poles that would run across the field at 40-foot height that can be varied if we need to. It's not a final design, but suggested to be 40 feet height originally. From here, I've started putting together some quotes, or a quoting package. Right now, I got a preliminary quote just for the materials to be around $30,000. And that does not include construction of those poles, or construction of installation of those poles. So it will be over the threshold of that would need quoting. So I'm putting together a quoting package which I will give to Paul, and he can solicit those quotes to for public and get those back, and then you can vote on it and start construction immediately. Since it's under the $150,000 threshold, we don't have to bid that project. So with that project, we're just trying to move forward and get those nets up as quickly as possible. And I think maybe Paul might be going out to say to the residents in that surrounding area that we've started this process, and we're very, we are just as concerned as they are about the well-being of those houses and their facilities. So we're moving forward with that as quick as possible.
I already spoke to 3 of the neighbors that are right behind the field there, and they are excited that we're moving forward on this project. So
They've been very patient, and the patience is waning.
What's the life expectancy on that netting? Do we take that netting down in the winter? Does it stay up 12 months? I mean, how can we get longer, the duration, how can we get a longer life with the netting or the
Get a
material?
longer life by taking it down.
Right, yeah.
A lot of places leave it up because it's time-consuming labor, laborious to do so. Of course, Paul, you used to doing it at baseball parks and things like that. It's a little bit different netting.
Let me just say that, Jamie, at the baseball park, because it's such an intricate netting, you can't take it down. And the first netting lasted about 8 to 10 years. That's leaving it up all the time. If this system is set up on some type of carabiner where we can unhook them and pull them down, it's certainly something.
Well, can we, when you put the spec sheet together, can you spec it maybe carabiner, however you want it, some way to fasten it that, I know 40 foot, you're going to have a boom truck, but at least,
Right.
in the dead of winter, we can at least get it down and get it in the shed, and get it out of the snow. And
This
Out of the UV is.
This system is unlike Worley's. Worley's was a very different system in that we were trying to canopy over a playground. I'm sorry, this thing part. You knew what I was talking about. It was an interesting situation where we tried to canopy over that. This is going to be an actual system that you can solicit quotes, and it's an actual engineered system that you can take down and up as you need
Let me
to.
just make a comment. I'm not sure that it'd be best to take this netting down, because when the weather's nice, even in January or February, with it being a turf field, people are going to be out there kicking a football, kicking a soccer ball. So we're probably going to have to keep it up. It may take a year or two out of its possible life, but it will give comfort to the neighbors so that in January, February, they're not having balls kicked in the backyard. Yeah, that's the benefit of having this turf field, but that's also the curse of having this turf field. People are out there, as soon as the weather's nice, they're out there kicking.
Yeah, absolutely right, because one day last year, it's snowing in horrible weather. The next day, they're literally cleaning it off, and they're playing because it's the only place in the region you can play, which is a huge benefit to why this is so successful. Well, I was just going to mention, I know you said it a million times, but for the public and kind of for the record, the reason this netting wasn't in place originally is it was really originally kind of conceived as the youth programs and the expansion of the youth programs. The overwhelming success of the field and the programs, the expansion of the programs, and the bringing out there of the adult programs is just showing you the success of the complex. This net system obviously is a large net system, and it's a pricey net system, but it's certainly worthwhile. And had these programs all been kind of conceived originally, we would have put them in there, and the cost would have kind of been there. But I think the great thing that I think for the public to understand is the park is a huge success. The programs out there, people are fighting to be there, and these nets will protect our neighbors and will promote the programs and just allow the complex to just be used that much more and to be used all the time and year-round.
That's exactly right. We didn't even know that there was a semi-pro soccer team locally or semi-pro football team locally, but as soon as we built the complex, they're knocking on our door to use it.
Yeah. Well, I think that to piggyback that, it also it was a lack of understanding that we did not know there was no entity within this area that would rent out a public space that is a turf field. This is the only place in the region actually has a turf field that you can rent out. Everyone else is private and keeps it that way. So I think that no one could really know that, but that just benefited the Parks Authority overall.
So one more point, sorry, Ed. The netting is just the one end near the Nicola Station, but we've talked about taking the netting that's there down now and moving it to the other end. So therefore, we wouldn't need it at both ends.
We were looking at raising the fence up.
Right.
Is that?
We also had netting not being used, it could be moved to the other.
Yeah, and I think that's a discussion I need to have with somebody, the Parks Authority, is do we want netting and a higher fence or just the netting? And I think we'll move forward on that in just a different discussion. But right now we're moving forward just on the netting against the neighbor's house.
Yep, I agree with that. So do we need a motion then for them to go ahead and I think we kind of said last time, go ahead and put the specs together and move forward with the netting. I mean, do we need any motion, Scott?
You all did that at the last meeting, so there's not a new request here.
Okay.
Nope, we're just updating.
Okay, great.
So we don't have, you're going to put a quote package together, and when will that, I mean, what time frame are we talking? Because now we're into summer, I mean, well, we don't want to get half or three-quarters of the way through the season and then put a net up.
I'd like to get that quote package by next Parks Authority so you can vote on it.
Okay.
Yeah, we would still vote on the packaging.
Right.
And all that.
Yes.
We're just going to prepare it, release it for quotes, receive those quotes, and then bring it to you for consideration.
All right. Thank you. And moving on, while you're standing there, we'll go to number 3, the additional work related to the Worley Athletic Complex, finishing the parking space and building a building. And with that, I'll pass it on to you, Mr. Lake.
Great. Well, as you know, the project as it is currently installed out there was phase 1. There was always intended to be a phase 2. Of course, the phase 2 has changed a little bit over the time. Originally conceived as the large field house building, and most people remember that building being the large field house space, but more importantly, the front of that building was the support services for the complex. And so for some of the new members and some of the public that might not have been privy to some of that conversation, the reason we have the small little shelter building out there now, it's the small shelter with the small concessions and the small restrooms, is that was always a convenience station that was going to be in addition to the large facility so that it reached the rear fields. what's happened is with the delay or the change of pace for Phase 2, it's become the only facility out there. It's obviously not large enough. It's kind of distanced from the main field of the turf field. So the Phase 2 has changed a little bit, but it really still needs that main support facility. So that support facility incorporates things like the main concessions facility, restrooms, we had some offices, we had some potential locker room dressing areas, those type of things. And so those type of support systems, services still need to be out there and need to be close to the turf field, immediately adjacent to the turf field. Now, what we're asking for is to begin that design process, actually continue the design process. We've already had some initial discussions with your team about what that might look like, what some of those desires would be. We'd like to continue that design process with your team, develop that building, those support facilities, move forward with drawings, prepare those for public bidding, and release those for public bidding. That would be the process we'd like to go through. The project, this Phase 2, has always had two pieces. One would be the support facility, and the other would be some additional site improvements. So in this case, with this smaller building without the field house, we're actually able to gain some more parking, which is desperately needed out there too, which is really one of the main reasons why you kind of shifted gears on Phase 2. I think rightfully so. This would allow us to get another 100 plus parking spaces out there in addition to the support facility. So that would all be part of what we have in front of you for consideration tonight for your proposal. We've kind of broken it out here, Matt, that Matt's given to you.
Well, before that, the just for an example, this last weekend, Paul Duckworth was out there with 5 and 10-year-olds, right? And the overflow parking was used where the building pad is, and it was actually used there. So the extra parking is really needed because of the not only the success of what we didn't know about, but even the success of what we did know about the youth soccer. So he had 700 kids out there for tournament.
No, just a regular day.
Just a regular day.
Picture day.
And that didn't include
It
include
was a
parents.
special day, it was picture day.
Okay, it's pitched
Well,
day,
because
yeah.
what ends up doing
It
it,
does make a difference because we have all our teams play at home. So all these other teams come in that we play for the surrounding counties are there. And we did use the whole overflow area. We had about 120 cars in the overflow area. But
Which
we
is the
never
area
had
where the new
anyone
parking
have to
is.
go park anywhere else. So we were
there were
able.
no complaints this time, so way to go.
But that overflow area is just a grass field where the original building pad was. So that area is not going to be turned into parking, an actual asphalt parking lot.
And it would also include the final coat for
Yes.
the existing parking lot, since if we finish off the building.
That's right.
Parking, we can do the finishing
Yes.
coat of it.
That's right. We stopped at the binder course because we were going to build the Phase 2 large field house, and we didn't want to tear up the brand new parking lot, so we were going to wait that time frame, and the time frame is now extended, so we need to finish coat that parking lot for long-term durability as well. And that support facility would give Paul and all the programs out there those final facilities that you need in a permanent location, in a larger facility, and the way, shape, and form of that is still yet to be determined as we go through the design process. We've kind of broken out the
One more thing.
services.
Sorry, and this whole process also does include, since the scope of the site has changed a little bit, going through planning and design, getting that approval again, as well as drainage board. So I just want to make that clear that everything will be reapproved properly through the city's zoning and code. No, you can go.
Sure. We did break it out. There is the separate number for the site improvement, separate number for the new building, and then construction administration. What we did on the Phase 1 is we asked for approval for the design just short of the construction, and then we came back and did the construction administration after the bids were awarded. That would be perfectly acceptable as well. The larger concern for us is to move forward with the design phase, which incorporates design and drawings ready for public release for public bidding. That's really what we'd asked for tonight.
So what you're asking for is basically a contract to do a design to design the site and design the building and put bid specs together if we move forward to build, to go ahead and
Ready
build.
for ready to bring back to you for release for
And
public bidding.
let's say we go ahead and make that approval and everything moves along, when would you think the bids would be put out if if everything moves along?
I think ideally we would have the bids out by the end of July, based on some approval processes that we may have to slide. But that would be our goal, that we would like to be under construction at your convenience in coordination with this fall.
And because of the changes, this has to go back to planning and zoning, and have to
Right.
give all the notices of all neighbors of the change of scope and the design and plan for this property, right?
We don't, because we are zoned correctly, we don't necessarily, I don't know if they necessarily have to give notice to the public.
Okay.
We can, out of good courtesy, and I think it'd be a good idea, just to set around a flyer or notice to say the project has slightly changed from the original concept.
I think that'd be a good idea. We did such a good job communicating what we planned to go there in the beginning.
Right.
I think we need to almost tell them, hey, you know what, it changed. And because of the success, but because of the problems with parking, we've had to change the design here. So I think it'd be good to communicate.
And the
We
neighborhoods,
would have a neighborhood meeting if need be.
Yeah, I think that'd be best. It worked really well last time.
Yeah.
the neighborhoods have been great neighbors, really, and the park is a great neighbor to those neighborhoods. It's just, and we just need to constantly keep the community. I don't think you could over-communicate with the neighborhoods, that's for sure. And I think everybody's excited about it, in general, it's a really nice neighbor to have, so I think we would like to do that. But yes, so our request would be to proceed with the design, construction documents for a package ready for public bidding, and we'd bring it back to you with the request for release at that time.
Any questions from the board members?
Well, the only thing that, under the landscape part, something that'd be considered is, because of the mulch fires that we've had and the rain and that mulch floats, I've done something, I've tried, and it may not even be acceptable, but I bought the ground-up colored tires, the rubber.
That migrates even worse.
The rubber mulch.
You have to have an actual contained unit for that rubber mulch. We use it in playgrounds a lot. And I usually put a seat wall around the whole thing, just to make sure it's contained well.
We can look
Similar
at
to pissing.
we can look at some different options
Could
for you for
once you
consideration.
build your curbing, could you drop that down? All I'm saying is there's been mulch fires up there, and when it rains, that regular mulch floats and takes off.
Right.
I use this on mine just to experiment, and really, it's held up well, so.
We use it on
something
a
to
lot of
consider.
playgrounds. It does hold up. It holds up extremely well. It does float. It does migrate differently. But I think we can put together some differing materials for you
Something
to
that's
consider.
fireproof or fire retardant.
Yeah.
With decorative rocks?
Yes, there's a whole variety of
Throw
things we
rocks.
can put together. There's pros and cons to every kind. The rocks are great. They won't move. They do throw them. They cause damage. So
Kick the rocks.
This is just all design fees and
I think it's all part of the design. We can go through all that part of the design process.
the building, you got an idea, what size building you're all talking about?
I think we're in that design phase, and we got to figure that part out.
It's really up to you. The whole footprint of what's out there now was the original Phase 2 facility. So we can take as much or as little as you want, depending on what the shape and form of the scope of that building wants to be. Depending on how large the dressing, the locker rooms need to be, or one locker room, two locker rooms. So how much, whether you want to trade off parking for building, we really need to get through the design process to have a more definitive answer for that. But probably a third of that area out there would be building, 2/3 parking.
And part of that process is actually going to all the stakeholders, being the Parks Authority, Parks staff, big users, Nathan, Paul, and all those people that are the neighbors possibly, and making sure everything has met the needs, and then making sure you're comfortable with that design. So
I think at a bare minimum, it's going to be concessions, bathrooms, and locker rooms, and maybe an office space at the bare, that's the bare minimum. But there may be a little more, because they talked about maybe a training room, maybe some other needs for first aid station or space, just different things like that. Referee room,
Right.
depending on how it's laid out. Okay.
You have great flexibility out there because it was originally planned to all be building, so you can build as much or as little of that as building, and like I said, trade off parking to building. So as we go through that, we can look at that trade-off and then constantly be doing some cost estimations to see what those reactions are to that.
Any other questions?
At some point, Ed, probably we need to, especially on this facility, this is going to have some maintenance as far as restroom, locker rooms, at some point, we're going to need to talk about that and how we're going to pay for the cleanup and the maintenance. Unlike most of our buildings are just big block buildings, but when you get into locker rooms and showers and stuff, it is going to be, and especially a concessions area, there's going to be some cleanup involved and some overhead costs that we normally, I think like the Little League Park, a lot of the Little League teams, the parents, most of us that's had kids play ball, we kind of do that. That's part of the deal. So we will have to talk a little bit about the costs and that, because this is going to be.
Your wife would take care of the, right? She's in charge of the concession area.
She's not going to clean the...
No, I didn't say locker rooms, I said concession area.
Yes,
I think, Mike, you're exactly right, and I guess what I envisioned, back, was it late last year or middle last year, we found out that the Parks Authority wasn't responsible to pay back redevelopment for the bond, that $300,000 bond a year. I think that'll free us up to be able to...
For the swimming pool,
Yeah.
aquatic center.
I think that frees us up to be able to maybe have to hire another person. I mean, there's no way we'll spend $300,000 on...
But it's
extra
something that
maintenance,
I think that this is a different step. It's not a block building. You can
Right.
broom it down and,
No, absolutely.
it's going to, especially with showers and stuff.
Paul, have you thought about that at all, or?
With the football complex and the soccer complex, they have board of directors, both of them, and they help out with the concessions, like Paul's wife takes care of the concessions. Ricky has somebody that takes care of the concessions for football, and they clean up the concessions. The restrooms, we currently contract out with somebody to help clean some of our restrooms, like our toilet trailers. And up at Kissimmee Park, we have somebody do the restrooms up there. So, yeah, I have thought about it. I don't know if it would require us to hire a new person, but maybe put more money.
Just more money into contract it out.
Well, showers is a whole new,
But that's true, we don't have any showers, so we have,
I mean, I
If
don't
you
know.
contract it out, they would be doing that.
That'd be
Yeah,
a more economical way to do it.
yeah.
But
I make a motion that we approve the fee proposals, Colbert Hawkins.
No second.
motion second to go ahead and approve the contract with Covert Hawkins. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, under new business, Lincoln Crum, you can come on up here. I'll give a little background on this. A number of Parks Authority members thought it'd be a good idea for us to consider promoting the parks amenities that we have in Jeffersonville. I feel like a lot of people don't know all the great parks that we have, and that as the Walking Bridge and East End Bridge come online, as well as with River Ridge doing so well with recruitment, that this would be a way to promote our community as a high quality of life and show some of the amenities we have to offer. And Mr. Crum has a video company and like an advertising company. He's going to give us a little proposal to think about.
Cool, thank you.
This is a lot cheaper than Pro Media.
I didn't, and I'm okay. I'm okay.
They rip our heads.
Thank you for having me. I have been here before over the past and produced video for the city in the past. And while it was one of the more fun projects I had done for a municipality, it was also challenging. So when I met with a few of the city council people, one of the things that I wanted to do was create a plan that would allow us to promote the most valuable asset that you have in your community for people to live. Now, I own two companies. I own Locally Grown Films, and we produce about 150 professionally shot, edited, produced videos a year, minimum. I also own a real estate company. And in my real estate company, it's my job every single day to sell people on how great it is to invest their money and live in Jeffersonville. And so ironically, after the real estate crash did what it did in 07, 08, and 09, I picked up a video camera and had no idea that it would turn into another complete, entire standalone business.
but it has. And so we produce video. I have Tammy Hardy with me, who is, she really runs my stuff for me. I have the vision, and Tammy goes, here's how we're going to do it. And we produced last year video for the Horseshoe Foundation, for Child Place, for Rauch Industries out of New Albany, and really learned a lot about what we wanted to do with video. And so when I was given this opportunity to talk about video with you all, I'm like, yes, yes, I can finally have the opportunity to be the cheerleader that I've always been for Jeff, because I was a cheerleader back in the day at Jeff. And I just get to do it now via video. So I created a proposal that I wanted to share with you all. This piece that Tammy created, the real pretty, snazzy, good-looking one, and mine just the black and white print. This is the overview, but pretty much what I propose is you create a video production plan to video every Parks Board facility, Parks Authority facility that you have, along with events and other things that happen throughout the city. Now, I think it's important that you create a series of videos of people in our city that live here, that are invested here, and have no ulterior motive to want to be on video. Not somebody that's running for office, not somebody that's elected, somebody that says, man, I love Jeffersonville, and I will live here for my entire life. And when you capture things like that, and you capture the authentic recommendation by a citizen, it makes more people want to live here. It makes more people take advantage of the parks. I live downtown. My offices are downtown. We spend a lot of time in the parks. And to see all of these people, and then honestly, be straight frank with you, to go online and see no content out there of the parks is a little disappointing to me. And it makes me think, you know what? Then there's an opportunity here that we can catch up to speed. So I propose creating a video production plan. I've met with Paul a couple times, and I proposed a 6-month project, but the more I look at it and the more I think of all the content that needs to be created, I think it probably would take us a 12-month period to do everything, and that would also allow us to capture all of the fall, winter, and early spring stuff. And also, the one thing that we do when we produce video for projects like this is we make it as timeless as possible, so it doesn't get outdated. You know, about Worley Field, we'll capture video there. It's growing, it's changing, and the others are. But we adapt to that, and we shoot that way, and have access to a drone so we can get aerial shots. Just really create a library of video that people can share on social media, that can be on your website. And then another component of the proposal, and I've probably spent more time researching this than I have the video, just because the video I do it every day, but the other component is an app. And I think that we're missing out as a city without having a mobile app. And so I have done an extensive amount of research locally and nationally, and found a company called CrowdTorch. I'm on the Steamboat Days committee, and so I'm kind of plugged into all of the things that we've got going on for that event, and they've talked about doing an app. Well, I found a company that can create an app pretty much either for citywide or for the Parks Department, and then you can have sections within it of events, maps, things like that. So if somebody's at a park and they want to know where dog-friendly parks are in Jeffersonville, they can see that on their phone, they can see that on their iPad, anything that's mobile, because I'm telling you, we're going mobile. It's coming. And all the videos that we produce will play on a mobile platform. And they'll all be, every video that I've made since the first one in September of 2009, every video I've ever made has been positive. I don't create any negative video. I don't create any drama video. I'm always positive. And, you know, I think it's important to be able to deliver consistent positive content in our community. I mean, this is the window. And if people see a video that shows the location of the park, how many miles are in the walking trail, if there's bathroom facilities, that allows them to add the park system into their daily routine and their daily life. Because in the past, and I've been a lifelong resident, if you want to go to the park, well, you don't really plan around it. Well, now people are planning their excursions locally. We have become a small destination city. And the more that you can give them that lets them see how great our city is, the easier it is, so the longer they're going to stay here, the more they're going to invest, the less they'll go somewhere else. And I think that you can do that through a mobile sharing platform and through video and promoting the city that way. So that's my proposal.
We also talked briefly about maybe putting a 30-second commercial, a generic kind of commercial together, a promo.
We did, and I included that as a separate line item under extra content. We can do that. We can create a 15 and a 30-second that highlights Jeff Parks and Living in Jeff promotion. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I should get that.
And in that regard, I called Paul Wheatley from River Ridge and asked them, that if they thought that'd be something that would be valuable to them. And he said he thought it would, but he wasn't able to talk to the board members or anything to get any kind of commitment. But he thought that if we, made a proposal to them, they may help pay for that because it'd be a promo that they'd be able to offer to businesses that are considering moving here.
Well, and the app and all video that we can do can all be sponsored. So at the very beginning in a bumper, or the first 3 seconds to the very end, you can say, brought to you by River Ridge. And the app can be, you can have sponsorships on there as well. There's a way to fund it. Mm-hmm.
Who would try to get the sponsors? Us?
Well, at that Steamboat Days meeting, we had somebody from City Pride.
Dave Simpson works for the Parks Department.
So his list of everybody that he has, Steve, are people that would be, you can even integrate that into a city partners if you've got an app or if you've got video sponsorship. It's there. The platform's there. You just have to get out and sell it, and then you put it in the stock.
UEZ bought if you look, there's a 4 or 5 inch piece of PVC when you come down the ramp, and that counts bicycles and people walking, and we're going to put together numbers so we'll know how many people use the ramp, how many of them are bicycles, how many are walkers or whatever, and Kelly's putting a lot of that together now. She has to download this information, but that's something that can be added on here that I thought would be great, or we thought would be great. Just if you're going to have a business in Jeff, you might be interested to know that in June there was 150,000 people that came downtown. It's a counter, and
I guess that will go back to the parks authorities, the budget, the money,
What's
advertising, or help pay this. I mean,
Yep.
I mean,
Dave Simpson is contracted through the Parks Authority, and the money would come back to the Parks Department. Yep. And I haven't heard of any updates. Is he doing well as far as that is
Yeah,
concerned?
he's talking now over 180 different people. He's turning in his first invoice to us. Sorry, I didn't get a chance to look at that to see how much he's brought in. I know it's at least 20,000, 30,000 so far. He's talked to several. A lot of people, again, we are looking at 2016 because they're past their target for having money for that. So he's getting what he can for 2015. He's got a lot of interest for 2016, but I'm not saying he doesn't have interest for 2015.
Well, other business owners and people out in the community, I know, because I talk to a lot of people, they're talking about him. They're talking about there's some new level of energy and excitement, and that's good. That's what we need.
Is he aware of this proposal that we're talking about? Oh, yes.
Mhm.
Great. So, I mean, he's already thinking, okay, I can maybe contact some businesses.
Yeah, and I told him that we could put together a video that would help him be an intro to an appointment. If he's going to go meet somebody, you can send him a video link of something that we create specifically for him. We can do that within our package, no problem at all.
you think we should do this for a year, Lincoln, to get the most effect, one solid year, or?
I do.
And,
Well, I didn't know, I mean, like April to October, then do it next, I mean, would you have solid, do these people even go to parks in the wintertime?
Well, we've got the ice skating rink.
Ice skating rink, Nahan Fieldhouse.
You got like the Christmas parade.
Yeah.
It's not as it's not just the parks, it's the parades.
Promote
and-
that in the
Yeah,
winter
there's some
time.
other things
Mhm.
we have too.
I'm telling you, there's plenty of content that we can capture. And the real thing that I think is important that we capture are real people doing real things in our city. I think that's really important.
Authenticity.
And so, okay, you create these videos, how are you going to get people to see them? How are you going to market the videos so people see them?
Social media, put them on your website, do a campaign to drive people to share. You include local super social media users, people with 3,000 to 5,000 friends on Facebook, Twitter followers. You ask them to share when videos are released, and then you put them on the app. And honestly, the app is probably the one thing that will bring it all together.
And you'll be coordinating all that as well.
I'll help Tammy will be coordinating all of that.
We have a YouTube channel?
Yeah.
Put it on YouTube?
Yep, put it on your YouTube channel. The app is a standalone separate price because we don't build apps, but I'll find it and I'll help produce and make sure everybody gets all the information that they need, and that's part of what I do.
We talked about putting them on the video screen at the River State.
Yep.
Oh, awesome.
Yep.
About those, the UEZ went in a partner, and when you come down the bridge, you come down Chestnut Street where them other condominiums there, they got a big blank wall. And Nathan, through the arts, wanted to put a projecting camera on that light pole to project on that building. So when people come down the ramp, go down Chestnut Street, it'll have a video of Jeffersonville, whether it's old buildings or whatever, and you could place it on that too.
That or that overlook, too. What about those boxes they paint all up for the, around the city?
Yeah.
I mean, if you put a sticker or something, they're nice, they look good, but, I think you're gonna have to get the
Oh, I know.
out.
Another way you do it is you do a sign at every park and with either a QR code or a direct link, or just says download the app. And people are driven by downloading an app if they're told to do it more than going out and searching themselves. So you're going to have to take that into consideration in the parks, and that can be as simple as a small 3x3 sign on a fence that's, hey, download our app, see what we're doing, keep up to date with the Parks Department.
I really like the idea. What's the cost?
Cost is $6,000 a month to produce the videos, and there would be probably in this proposal on a 6-month over 60, so that would be about $600 per video turnkey for everything. And then if we went a year, you could pretty much just double it.
And that would include the app as well, or is that just?
The app is a separate, I found a local vendor, and he's about $1,200 to $1,300 a month. He's subscription based only for an app. And this CrowdTorch company that I really, really like a lot, they did one for the Kentucky Derby Festival, and they're doing for towns and cities all over the country. They're $6,000 flat fee to build the app from beginning to end.
Paul, from a budget standpoint, within the Parks Department, do we have the ability to pay for this?
Well, not with our current advertising budget. We would have to move some money, either from park space or somewhere into that. We're talking $6,000 a month, which is, my math is right, $72,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
And then $6,000 for the app.
Mm-hmm.
So $78,000 investment, and then the commercial is another $3,500,
Mhm.
so about $81,000. So we don't have that currently without moving some money.
But I mean, within park space, we could do that.
Yes, we do.
And then it's kind of, I kind of be curious to see what Dave brings in this year. I know next year will be a larger amount, but I'll be curious what he brings in.
Well, the app is $6,000 flat fee one time, but there is a monthly charge on that, correct?
If there is, it's extremely minimal.
I thought you said it was $1,200.
That's from a local app builder that I met with and talked
Okay.
to. This is through a company called
But if
CrowdTorch.
we could get someone to sponsor that app, they could end up paying that $6,000.
Yes,
That
ma'am.
would be very beneficial to a company to want to get
Yeah.
their name out there to sponsor that link, that app.
Even if it's somebody that's like a consumer-driven, like Crunchers or whoever that's consumer-driven, I think that would make a lot of sense for them.
So that 6,000 is, did you say it's for 2 videos a month?
Actually, it is for more than 2 videos a month. It is for, on a series, we create a series of 6 videos, which is 1 per month, or in this case, it would be 12. And then we would also do 2 videos per month highlighting activities, services offered for events happening around the country or the city. And then it would also be all of the parks and facilities, and there's either 40 or 42 that I've discovered in my research. And then also I recommend doing 1 custom created parody video. Y'all know what a parody video is? A parody video is where you take a subject and you take a song and you rewrite the words to the song, and then you have people lip sync and act it out, and you have the different words on the bottom. It's what we call shareable video content, and so when if you have a bunch of video and none of it's shareable, but it's all content driven, that doesn't really drive people to share it and to link it and post it and share that information. But if you have one that spikes and everybody else averages 500 to 1,000 views and one gets 20,000 views, that's going to raise the level of the other views of the regular content.
If we were to move forward with this, when do you think you'd start the videos? When would you start seeing videos come out?
We would start shooting parks immediately. So right now, we're anywhere from a 3-day to 7-day turn on video production. We keep it simple and very focused. So we would start immediately. We devise a production plan. If we started now, we would have content by the first week of June. Immediately.
Say like we went forward with this, Lincoln, then 1 year goes by, and we got those videos. Those are the city's videos, right?
That's correct.
And we want to run the same video. I imagine we could run those same videos again, right? Nothing much.
Yeah.
What would that cost after that point?
They're yours. Do you own them? We upload them to your YouTube channel. If you need them if you need a certain series of them on a thumb drive or a DVD for presentations, we give you that, but they're organic. They stay there forever.
So
We have the right to use them all.
piggyback on that, Steve. If after the first year we have plenty of videos, and the second year we have a few additional events, we wouldn't have to contract you for 12 months. We can contract you per event.
Yeah, really what I think you're doing is you're playing catch up, and you're creating content.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, totally.
Because we could run these videos for a few years. I mean,
Yeah.
2 or 3 if we had to.
I have video content that's from 2009 that's out there that gets views. I mean, people continue to watch and share video, even if it's 3 to 5 years old.
So, but I guess to Steve's question, though, that would be ours, but we would obviously want to, next year there's going to be different, there's going to be some difference, so we would just pay him.
Yeah, totally,
we
on a
would
per
pay
diem
him
basis.
A one-time deal to go in and make adjustments and add to, take away, but the base of what we have is ours.
Foundation's there.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think every year it's going to change some.
Oh, yeah.
I think you should.
So we've got the 12 videos, right? You said there's 6, but then there's really 12.
Yeah, but if we did it for 12 months as opposed to 6.
Okay, all right. And then you were going to do one for, what was the 24 videos for? 2 a month for something, just different activities?
2 videos per month highlighting activities and services offered for events happening across the city under the Parks Department, not under River Stage, because I think you all have a contract to do River Stage shout-outs, but more detailed event coverage and promotion like Naham Fieldhouse, festivals, barbecue festival, Steamboat Days, things like that, baseball, football, little leagues, things like that.
So then those are all, I just don't want people to think we're spending this much money for, 36 videos, because
Yeah.
I think we're getting a great bang for a buck.
Yeah, no, and it's our job to promote and show as much as possible. And you are better to do that on a bunch of 2-minute or less videos than 10, 12-minute videos.
Nobody will watch it.
Nobody watches them.
What I really like is we're creating a library of videos that
Yep.
we don't have today, that if we don't like, if we're not happy with the overall exposure we got, we could just use existing videos for another year or two But at least we have content to show people, hey, this is some of the amenities here, this is some of the activities, this is...
Businesses can use them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to go well, and, you know,
How do you do, like, if every event, you know, whether it's the barbecue fest on the river or whatever, but every event, every year, it's going to change. So we'd have to automatically, every year, change dates.
Well, the good news is...
dates in here, I don't think.
Yeah, no, so what you can do is you create that, you get what they call B-roll footage, and B-roll is everything that you see in the background, like when there's voiceover or you're interviewing something and somebody's making reference to something, if it's police chief, and then you see the squad of cars, all that, that's B-roll. So we will create a ton of B-roll footage for you to be able to use in the future for event-specific things. Now, some events we are going to want to be specific because people are going to watch that, and we're going to drive that video to them. But you can also do it through comments and description when you post it on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. It's a whole different language over 10 years ago, isn't it?
And I think next year we'll have to have him change some more because, like Steamboat Days, you don't have any footage of that. How can you even footage when you've never done it? Can you get actual footage of it?
We don't have footage of it, but that's okay. You create footage and you create promo and you do it through interviews and things like that.
And I like the idea of going 12 months because then you have a chance to see Jeffersonville through all the seasons.
I think so too. And with time-lapse videos, we have the ability, you know, where you see video and the clouds are moving and people are walking. I foam at the mouth thinking about doing time-lapse videos at the different parks and Big Four Station and even out at Worley Field. That's awesome to go out there and set up a camera during a game, and I think things like that would be really great for the city.
I've seen your video. You're definitely qualified to do it. I think that's
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of positive promoting. We have such great amenities in our park systems, and there's a lot of falsehoods out there, I guess is probably the best word to use. Case in point, when we had the issue with the council where we had the one lady come up and, you know, they think that it's just soccer that's going on out there. They don't realize we have semi-pro teams out there. They don't realize we moved our whole football program over there. So I think the more we can positively promote our quality of life here in Jeffersonville is a good thing. That's just what I...
With that, I'd be happy to entertain a motion.
I will say that this is a proposal, so I think regular state board of council will need to have an actual contract. This is something you want to proceed with. We need an actual contract.
Okay. So do you guys want to work on a contract and then come back to approve?
Provide like standard contract.
I have a video production contract.
Okay. I just want to be clear that.
Yeah, you bet.
Whatever motion you make, I think is still going to be subject to a written contract.
Well, we can do that.
I think the app is important too, and the barcode or whatever you call it.
QR.
Yeah, where they come off the walking bridge, you've got a set of rules. You could have that on there or something where they could go right to it. I think that's, in a year or two, I mean, that'll be what everybody will go to anyway. Once it's there, they'll just do it.
Well, I'll make the motion that we accept this proposal contingent with Mr. Crum providing Mr. Lewis with the contract, and so he can look it over. And then Ed would sign it. Is that correct?
Yeah, unless you wanted the contract to be brought back. I don't know how
It's up
soon
to the
you
board how you want to do it. If you want to bring it back and do it, or just subject to proper contract.
You can email it out to us, Scott, you can email it out.
see it at least, but you get the offer.
Right.
That's your discretion.
Is that your motion?
That's my motion.
I'll second it.
All right. We have a motion and second to allow a contract to be completed with Mr. Lewis's approval for the parks videos and app as kind of outlined in this proposal. Any other discussion?
I just want to bring up one thing, though. Paul, you probably have to get the word out. I don't want getting complaints that we have a gentleman in our parks videotaping our... Somehow, we're going to have to get that information out, just so there's not...
Yeah, we work...
I don't want you carted off to...
Yeah, no, we work with... That's production things. Oh, look, I get to refer to Tammy again.
I'm just saying, if I
Yeah, that's good.
videotaping my children or my nieces there, I'd be questioning it, so...
Yeah, No, I agree 100%.
Do you have to get approval from these people when you take their pictures or you interview them?
Not if they're in a public.
Not if they're in a public spot. But if we interview them, we get them to sign a release. Just to be safe.
Any other comments?
Either
or
sign a
questions?
release or say it on camera.
Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank you very
We
much.
have a big weekend coming up with the Crashers, going to be a Friday night.
Right.
You want to get real people on video. There's a lot of real people going to be.
Yeah, you bet. Real as real gets. How about I get you the contract, I'll work on that, I'll get your email, and I'll reach out to you tomorrow about logistics.
Great, thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity. We're going to make you proud, I promise.
Forward to it.
No doubt.
All right, moving on. Director's report. Sandy Knott, advisory report.
Uh-oh, she sat too long.
We met last Thursday, and we had visitors. Lisa was there representing Parks Authority, and we really appreciate when one of the representatives come. We have a lot of questions answered, and we answer a lot of questions, too.
That's a part of that meeting.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. We also met Dave Simpson, and I think he's a great representative to be out there doing what he's doing. He's very, very professional, and I can see where he's going to bring in a lot of income from community sponsors. Not a lot going on with just getting the parks ready for summer. Aquatic Center opens this weekend. Are there any problems there with anything that we need to know about?
We got the repairs finished a couple weeks ago on the pool, and they're up there now doing some landscaping and some cleanup.
Ready to go. Good.
We're open to water. Yeah, I was going to ask, what are we going to do this year about that?
Well, the good thing is we tested our water last week and 2 thumbs up, no problems with the water. Nikki went to a aquatics seminar this year, one of those with the booth set up, people selling products. Anyway, they were selling a product that you add into your chlorine that helps keep the geese away. Proven product. Plus, we still have our coyote when we set out there.
I was going to say that. I said, I didn't know you did that. I was going to mention that. They don't like coyotes at our
Yeah,
place.
we put it out there, the things you got to move it around, because the geese are pretty smart. If you move, no, it's not real. Anyway, the lights show, it kind of scares them off, so we have taken steps.
We need to find one that's voice activated, that's like Halloween thing, yeah, get away. Okay, River Stage opens Friday night with the Crashers, as he said, and we have the new green team in place, and I met with Jeremy at the Bob Hedge Park. First time I had seen him, his team was over there, and I had invited him to our Parks Authority advisory meeting, and he was unable to make it. And that's about everything I have to say. Do you anything to add? Okay.
No, that's good, thank you.
Thanks.
I'll just add a few more things here. The Vissing signage package, which we started a couple years ago, is now in process and should be done in the next week or so. They've already started building some of the signs out in, near the entrance, and the wayfinding signs and the informational signs and the yardage or the mileage signs on the tracks. Those should be finished within the next week. This past weekend we had the Touch a Truck event, and it was partially rained out. It was a good event. We had over 40 vehicles involved in it, and it was a lot of positive comments from the people involved, and they look forward to it next year. But as you may remember, it started to drizzle about 10:30 or so, and started a full-out rain about 12:30. So Sarah said we had a nice crowd. I was there for the beginning. She said they had a nice crowd, and then they kind of all ran when it started raining. But anyway, something we look to do again next year. As Sandy mentioned, the River Stage season opens this weekend with the Crashers, and they have, oh shoot, I didn't write it down here, the opening band. Oh, here it is, I'm sorry. Gas Money is the opening band, and the Crashers will come on about 9 o'clock. The movie Saturday night is Annie, the 2015 version of Annie, and that starts the Twilight Cinema season as well. The River Stage is in its new location. If you've seen it or noticed it, it is 50 feet down from its
previous location, which we feel, again, will open up that viewing area to a little farther west than it has been normally. I think it'll allow for more people to see what's going on the stage than they have in the past.
Since you're talking about River Stage, last week I went out on the river with the Jeff Police boat, I guess the River Patrol. So they took us down along the back side of the river stage. Boy, we got a lot of wear and boards rotting off. And is that to be a concern? Is that just general maintenance? Because, from the back end, it didn't look too good.
Right, and we had planned on doing some painting in the off-season, and we got busy with other projects like the field house and some other things. So we did it 2 years ago. 3 years ago, we painted the whole barge, and now it's 3 years later, and it's showing some wear. But you're right, that river side of the barge gets a lot of wear and tear. So we'll do some cleanup in the off-season this year. We also had to work out access to the river stage. Something we didn't think about with the new marina project starting down there this past week is they're shutting down that whole ramp and locking the gate. But we were able to work out with Mac Construction, getting access to the river stage Friday afternoon so our bands can load on, so the Estes company can come in, pump out the restrooms, and so we can access that river stage. But 6 days a week, it's going to be shut down to us. So something we didn't think about, but we had to work out quickly. And then also, Sandy mentioned the Aquatic Center, and that opens this weekend. I think that's all I have. Oh, wait a minute. No, I'm sorry, that was it. Thanks.
Okay. Any comments from Mr. Lewis? Okay, there's no public comment.
Yeah, I gave you, didn't you have?
Yeah, but there was Lincoln Crum to talk about video
okay.
stuff. He didn't realize we were going to add him to the agenda. Mr. Duckworth, since you're sat here quietly, do you want to make any comment at all?
Sure. As we talked about the overflow and the parking, we've handled that well. We haven't had no issues out there with parking. Facilities have been great. We're averaging about 600 people every Saturday or Sunday playing soccer out there. Most games are played on Saturday. We do have some on Sunday. The football was out there last week. Indiana Extreme against the I forget who they were playing, but but we finished and they came in and we worked with them. It's a shame that we don't have the lockers right now. They're just using our maintenance buildings. It's full of all sorts of stuff for them to be able to get changed in and stuff. They didn't want to get changed right by the field because we had kids and families there, so we managed to. But no, Worley's gone really good. We have a QWERTY code on our sign out there, the QR code. So I don't know where it takes you right now, but it is there. So we're already set up for the future. So if you have the videos, it'd be pretty cool that we're hooked into that. But yep, so far everything's gone great. The season finishes in 2 weeks. We have a big tournament planned for the end of May, and we're making sure everything's scheduled out so that we don't have parking issues, because that's where we started last year. Numbers are growing, and everybody loves coming out there. So, thank you all very much.
Thank you much. All right, Parks Authority member comments. Mr. Smith.
Just two things. The last Wednesday, the UEZ, remember we discussed for the K4 security, splitting it 3 ways, and the parks, we approved it. Well, the UEZ approved their third, and basically they're sending the money through redevelopment. So in redevelopment, I'm not sure when they meet, but when they approve their third, that a contract should be paid for. And on the green team, briefly on the discussion, who's taking care of the Highway 62 or 10th Street medians?
I don't know what they look like.
On 10th Street medians, it's supposed to be us. I know it looks horrible, and not gotten to it.
It's horrible.
It is. And,
It looks like, I think it's at a point now where it's overgrown. Whoever's in charge of that, when they go in there and start weed eating and cleaning it, because there's a lot, the vegetation is overgrown, the flowers and stuff, and I've just seen it today, and it hadn't been touched. So it's horrible.
Last week, and we didn't get to it, and then pool opens this week, so we're going to have a pool trying to get it ready. So if we can get the pool ready in the next couple of days, we're going to get started on 10th Street medians.
That's it.
Mr. Wadsworth.
No comment?
Ms. Sellers.
No, but my question, Paul, is, I mean, I understand you're working at the pool, but when has the green team already started?
Yes.
Okay, but they shouldn't have been working at the pool, right? They should.
That's one of their responsibilities. Not working at the pool on umbrellas and things, cutting grass, there's landscaping out around the flagpole, there's landscaping inside the pool. So that, to me, we were doing all parks facilities and then all these other facilities too.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Ms. Gill?
I just wanted to let the Parks Authority know, I met with Crunchers, Andre Bloom, and I'm going to be coordinating and scheduling a tour for all of us. I got to tour the facility. But I had that conversation about the things we had coming up, about the videos and some things, and they already mentioned, they brought in the gentleman, but I don't know if they ever said his name. He just said he's over our community relations, that, you know, he's been in contact with Dave, but I think they're sponsoring, they went ahead and committed to sponsor $2,500 for our Twilight movies.
Oh, that's good.
And they are also excited about that, and that they are going to take their product down there and hand out snacks during the event, so they're really excited. They want to keep informed, they want to do more of the, you know, community oriented, and it's a good fit, but, you know, they got the snacks and with the Twilight movies and all, so I just want to let everybody know that I did meet with them.
Awesome, that's good.
Comment on that. The brochures or booklets are due out this week, but our sponsors are on there. We have Modern Beverage, Security Pros, Bow Oil, Snyder's Lance, Sounds Unlimited, and Sheridan have committed to our weekend season for this year. And that's what we have before the booklets go out.
And those mailings are going to go out when?
They should be done by the end of this week. We'll hand them out at the River Stage, and then the mailers will out next week.
Mr. Webb?
No comment.
I just have a couple quick things. You know, the Parks Authority resources that were used for the construction of Allison Brook Park, which is a redevelopment park, and also for the marina, which was a redevelopment project. Director Northern, we asked him to keep track of some of those hours and resources that were used. It was almost $60,000. I asked that Marty Chalfant, the city council representative of redevelopment, to present that bill to redevelopment. So just let everybody know. I don't know where that will go, but hopefully they'll pay the parks back for those resources. And then I have a question. I heard, we don't own Howard Steamboat Museum, do we?
No, we don't.
We don't own Preservation Station, do we?
We don't own the building, but we own the...
We own the property around, okay. Because I heard parks were doing work, cutting grass and doing other landscaping work at both those locations. Is that true, and is that proper?
Well, yes, it is true, and we've always, since I've been in the position, done Howard Steamboat. I don't know if it was some type of former agreement between Parks and Steamboat. Another one we do is the Optimist. The Optimist is not ours, but we have a verbal handshake agreement with the Optimist to cut their grass and do the work around it too.
They don't compensate us in any way?
No.
Do they allow us to use their facilities for events? So is there at least some kind of benefit?
Yeah, I bet they would if we asked, but I don't think we've ever asked.
You know, Ed, I think we probably need to have a written contractual agreement, to a liability agreement, even if we continue what we're doing. And he's beat me to death with that, but I think we need something in writing to cover.
And that's exactly where I was going with this. If it's not our facility and we're doing work on it, we need to have probably a formalized contract and get some kind of compensation. It may just be ability to use the facility as needed for some projects. I know at one time we used to do the Easter egg. Didn't we do Easter eggs at the Optimist Club, or is that their own event?
It could have been before my time.
Okay. I know I thought we used to do some events at Optimist.
The only thing I can think of is they let the Little League use their little ball field back there, but that's...
Okay, I think that's just something we need to talk about a little more, just because then you're picking and choosing who you're using resources for, and I think, Mr. Lewis, we should have some kind of compensation. Yeah, so.
Again, we're behind in everything else that we're doing.
That's what I'm kind of concerned about. It's all right if we're caught up to do this kind of work, but when we're behind, our properties need to take priority.
Howard had their Jubilee this weekend. So, yeah, that's part of why we're behind. We spent a couple days over there cutting grass, doing weeding, things like that. But should I have said, sorry, we have, I think this contract will be a benefit to us in the future. But I had to make a decision. We've always done it. We've always helped them out, and I couldn't tell them no right before their big event.
And I didn't mean that that's not directed to you. I mean, it's been happening all the time, but I just wanted to understand, why we did it or if it was our property. I didn't realize the preservation station was our property, but I guess the building is not ours,
The
right?
building's not.
Okay, so, but we just need, I think, to formalize some of these relationships that we, with that,
I'll get
and
with Scott and we'll work
expenditure
out.
of resource.
Okay.
Okay, with that,
Need-
oh, wait, not yet, we did
That's
that.
okay.
I rescind that motion.
I was just going to say that it was requested for pizza. There's pizza back in the break room there. Hopefully in between meetings, you guys can get pizza.
Appreciate that.
All right.
All right, meeting adjourned.